All right. So why are we changing the process by allowing the city manager and the city planner to approve a alcohol permit behind closed door? Why don't we just leave it the way it is to a group of people making a decision, doing public hearing? Because in my experience, as a city manager, you don't want to take that responsibility over your head and making decision, granting alcohol permit license to people behind closed door. It has to be transparent out in public. And number one, for a very good reason. Number one, it's transparency. Number two, it's avoid corruption, temptation that will be created, and that's it. If I'm a city manager, I would not want to be taking that responsibility over my shoulder and creating an opportunity to be able to questioning, my decision, or especially it's like you don't have enough thing to do as a city manager. You have so many things. You have a city council to take care of. You have the city to run. You have employees. You have the financial aspect of it, and the politics. And I mean, this is how I can't see that you have enough time for you personally to make a decision. And if you delegate that responsibility to your staff, and it doesn't make any sense. Again, you allow a just one individual to make a decision, whereas the process we have right now is a group of people, good, bad, indifferent. It's a group of people who make the decision, the majority win. Okay, and then you allow the public participation, and it's transparent. Okay, and beside most city that I know, usually they have the city council make the decision. If they don't have a planning commission, it's still a group of people. Okay, it's hard to get the majority of a group of people to agree in something. Okay, so the level of transparency is there. The corruption, the temptation thereof will be less likely to happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. And that's it. We just want a city with transparency. We do everything right. And that's my number one concern. If it's not broke, why fix it? It sounds so familiar.
And I would like to ask, when you say
most of the time, ABC will refer back to the city and the police department, because they have no idea of what happened in the local jurisdiction. So they have rely heavily on the city commission, the public hearing, and the police department to make a decision. They don't have enough staff or manpower to figure out the liability of issue a liquor license. And that's it. My number one concern is just straightforward, make sure there's a group of people making a decision, avoiding have just one individual making the decision on such a major business decision. In this particular, involve alcohol, which is heavily regulated. Yeah, and that's my number one concern. May I ask how many ABC applications do we process a year here in Westminster? How much time are we trying to save here?
I don't know that number off the top of my head. I would need to look into that for you. Steve, do you have a better sense?
I don't have an exact number, but I would say approximately a dozen though, and not all ABC applications that involve a conditional use permit particularly require PC. Only those that are either in a high crime area or an area there's already oversaturation. So maybe just roughly, I'd say 50% of we receive fall to that type of criteria.
This item came through the Community Development Department as part of streamlining the process, and then again looking for how can we make things quicker and save time and all that stuff. So this item has been discussed, and when we heard about that we are one of 7 cities who's doing that. We said, okay, let's try going to council and see if they would go for this. But if the council is not supporting this item, then staff will leave it alone.
So what was driving?
Are you willing to withdraw?
Alexa, I don't know, I have to refer to Alexa, and I know Christian also was involved in the discussion, so I don't know.
So let me ask you, Mark Wang, let me ask you this. Okay,
Yes.
so we have approximately about a dozen application a year, right? So on an average, probably 1, maybe 2 at the most at any given time, right? And this
Yes.
becomes a high priority that you want to take over the responsibility so that you can be a decision maker to process alcohol, which is, very controversial sometimes because it's highly regulated by the state. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, yeah. However, it wouldn't be only myself. It'll be like I would not do it without consulting with the police chief and the planning manager or the community development director. So
Okay, let me ask you
at
this.
staff level, it'll be at least 3 people involved.
Okay, so the police chief, who the city manager hired,
Right.
okay, so he would be able to give you the correct advice when he, feel that, hey, this permit should not be approved, and you will give him the freedom to make that recommendation without consequences.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would never ever approve an application like this if I know this is not good for the city or the neighborhood or the residents. The only time I would even recommend something like this is to help out the process. That's it, really. That's the main reason. Otherwise, if the council doesn't feel comfortable, I am okay dropping this.
You know what? To be honest, I have questions about your total judgment because I have to hear about the Westminster hiring a lobbyist Tyler did through a newspaper reporter, and I was not aware. The council was not aware, and we didn't even get a courtesy email or memo notify us that you hired a former politician who is also elected official who representing the city of Westminster through Midway City Sanitary District. So I do have that problem with your judgment, especially making a decision behind closed doors.
A motion to adopt a resolution entitled "A Resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Westminster rescinding and replacing Resolution Number 3304, establishing the appropriate decision-making authority regarding determinations of public convenience or necessity as required by the California Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control." So roll call vote. Councilmember Doe?
No, the reason I vote no because I do not want to delegate the responsibility of making a decision to issue a highly volatile and highly regulated alcohol license permit, and the rest is on just one individual to make a decision. No.